Good morning, students. Our today's topic is Kingdom Plantae. This kingdom includes all eukaryotic chlorophyll containing organisms, commonly called plants. Eukaryotic means have well defined nuclear membrane and cell organelles. They have chlorophyll in them. They are mainly autotrophic but sometimes heterotrophic, such as insectivorous plants or parasites. The plant cell have an eukaryotic structure with prominent chloroplast and cell wall. The cell wall is made up of cellulose. About kingdom Plantae, we will study in our next chapter. Plantae include algae, bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperms and angiosperms. Now, one important term here is alternation of generation. The life cycle of plants has two distinct phases. The diploid phase is known as the diploid sporophytic phase and haploid gametophytic phase. Diploid means they have 2n number of chromosomes, that is they have two set of chromosomes. In haploid they have one set of chromosome. The diploid phase alternates with haploid phase or haploid phase alternates with diploid phase. In this way, this is known as alternation of generation. When one phase alternates with the other, this is known as alternation of generation. Next kingdom, Animalia. It has heterotrophic eukaryotic organisms that are multicellular and their cell lacks cell wall. Cell wall is absent in them. They depend on their food on plants for their food. The food reserve in them is in the form of glycogen or fat. About this we will study in our chapter number 4. So next is what are viruses, Veroids and Prions and Lichens. So viruses first. They are non-cellular organisms outside the living cell and have inert crystalline structure. So when viruses are outside the living cells, they act as non-living body and have crystalline structure. When inside the cell, they use the machinery of the host cell and then they become living. So they are the link between living and non-living. When present inside the living cell, they act as a living organism. When outside the living cell, they act as a non-living organism. The name virus was given by Dmitry Ivanovsky. Virus means venom or poisonous fluid. Bezernik, another scientist, demonstrated that the extract of infected plant could cause infection in healthy plants and called the fluid as contagium vivum fluidum, which means infectious living fluid. So Bezernik demonstrated that if the plant which is infected with the virus, if we take the fluid from that, it can infect the other healthy plants also. That is why the word given infectious living fluid. Another scientist, Stanley, showed that viruses could be crystallized and the crystals largely consist of proteins. So viruses have DNA or RNA as genetic material. Virus that infect bacteria is known as bacteriophage. So definition of bacteriophage is virus that infect bacteria is known as bacteriophage. They have double-stranded DNA. In bacteriophage, double-stranded DNA is present. They have protein coat called capsid. On the virus, the outer layer, on the outer side, protein coat is present, which is known as capsid, which is made up of small units known as capsomeres. Capsomeres join and form capsid. Viruses cause mumps, smallpox, herpes, and AIDS in humans. Next is viroids. Theo discovered the viroids. They are smaller than viruses. They have free RNA as genetic material and they lack protein coat. This is the difference between virus and viroids. Viroids are smaller than viruses. They have free RNA as genetic material and they lack protein coat, which is present in viruses. RNA of viroids have low molecular weight. The molecular weight of RNA of viroids is less. Next is prions. They are similar in size to viruses. They consist of abnormally folded proteins. Prions consist of abnormally folded protein. They cause bovine spongiform encephalopathy, that is mad cow disease in cattle. Important word is they cause mad cow disease in cattle. Next is lichens. They show symbiotic association between algae and fungi. The algal component is known as phycobiont, which is autotrophic. The algal component is phycobiont. The fungal component is known as mycobiont, which is heterotrophic, that is, which depends upon other organisms. Algae prepare food for fungi and fungi provide shelter and absorb water and minerals for algae. Because lichens is the symbiotic association between algae and fungi, in this algae gives food to the fungi and fungi gives shelter, protection and absorb water and minerals for algae. In this both the organisms are benefited. Lichens are the good pollution indicators. They do not grow in polluted areas. So these are the few important points about lichens. I am giving the notes of this. Write these notes in your biology copy. I hope this is clear to you. With this, we have completed our chapter Biological Classification. Attempt the exercise questions. If any doubt, you can ask. Next time, we will start with the next chapter, that is Plant Kingdom. Thank you.